You landed on this video, I'm thinking, because you want a really good icebreaker for training for small groups. And I'm gonna give you what I believe to be a way better alternative to any icebreaker, and it might even replace any activity that you start a gathering with at any point in the future. And here's my pitch. Instead of an icebreaker, what if we do something that actually goes somewhere? If you think about the actual ship, an icebreaker, which I was recently in Toronto giving a keynote to a bunch of heads of international schools. And Toronto in February was very cold, and there was actually an icebreaker cutting through Lake Ontario. And it was the first time that I realized the whole point of that type of icebreaker is to get somewhere. It's actually to make a passageway for other ships to go through this canal that's broken through the ice. And yet, oftentimes in trainings, exercises, whatever, an icebreaker begins with this phrase. Hey everyone, before we get started, like right there. The icebreaker, like you should just get started right away with this. This should be something that takes someone somewhere. It's all explained in this graphic. This is what I want you to replace every icebreaker with from now on. So if you can see here, here's a really powerful question, which ideally starts a domino effect, which in some way actually changes the world in some capacity. And so for me, one of the tools that I created, which you can create your own version of mentally with no prep, is a set of future-focused question cards. So these are questions that when you're asked, the act of answering the question is actually a tiny act that changes someone's mind. And what I mean by that is when someone's asked a question that they haven't been asked before about something future-oriented, the brain actually forms new neural pathways. It starts to think, well, okay, like if you could start a new career tomorrow, what would it be? If someone hasn't been asked that question before, or even if they haven't, right, they start to answer in a way that is the tiniest first step toward doing something that they're more passionate about, that they're more interested in. Especially if it's a small group that's an intact team or they've gathered many times before, when you ask a question like, what is a dream you had for a long time? What you unlock for people is something oftentimes that just kind of hangs out buried, but something that we really care about. And when people share it, what happens is everybody else in the group, when they hear this person's dream, assuming they like each other a bit, or at least they have their best interest in mind, everybody else becomes antenna out in the world to help make that happen. And so when you know what someone cares about, right? And so Chris is behind the camera right now and finding out that he loves baseball and just did this awesome baseball shoot with someone. I am now thinking when I walk through the world and I meet a client that has some connection to baseball, I'm thinking like, hey, do you need a videographer? You should talk to Chris. When we share what we love, what we're passionate about, what we're interested in, it intertwines our futures in a way that actually makes a difference. In a training context, that is just way better than sharing an animal sound or your favorite color M&M or anything else that's like, this is an icebreaker that takes us nowhere. And then we have to restart on a totally different topic. And so typical icebreakers that go nowhere, I would argue actually build resentment. Even if they're fun in the moment, there's gonna be enough people in the room that start to question like, why did we do that? What was the point of that? Whereas a question like this can be tied really directly. In my mind, the idea of training, the point of it all is to shorten the distance between learning something and transferring that to real life. And so when you invite people into conversations about stuff they really care about and that matter, that distance gets shortened. If you want a free printable version of these cards, check out, there's probably a link in the description. I think that's how YouTube works. Have an awesome day.